Today's Design After Dark theme is really especially meaningful to me because I'm about to study lighting design, but to all of us because it reminds us that what we design directly impacts the night sky, people, and the environment around us. So if today's talk inspires you to get more involved, we would love to stay connected through Dark Sky. We have resources and programs for many different lighting design and advocacy efforts. Dark Sky has lighting recommendations and certifications for sports fields and lodging, as well as a database of Dark Sky approved lighting from certified manufacturers. And all of these programs stem from the core 5 principles of responsible outdoor lighting. And in order to help maintain and promote this kind of healthy and friendly dark sky lighting around the world, Dark Sky has policy templates for you to use and enact in your community or state. So if something clicks for you today, let's keep the conversation going. Stick around and reach out. We'd love to stay in touch and keep working together. So I will now introduce I'll start with our partners. So we're super excited to have a lot of partners here today for this special Advocate Action meeting. And I'll just give a little blurb about all the partners who are supporting this work. And we'll start with the International Association of Lighting Designers, or IALD. So as the world's leading professional association dedicated to the lighting design profession, the IALD connects, advocates for, and helps advance lighting designers at every stage of their careers and every corner of the globe. Built upon core values of collaboration, community, innovation, integrity, and leadership, the IALD strives to cultivate the universal acknowledgement and appreciation of the power of light in human life. The Lighting Police is another partner, and they're a global educational platform focused on initiating conversations and learning amongst the general public. They are raising awareness about the importance of adequate light in our lives and the spaces that surround us, inspiring action and engagement amongst all participants. They empower a worldwide network of experts, advocates, and engaged community members to spark conversations, share insights, and spotlight innovative case studies on lighting design and research. Women in Lighting, another partner, which I love the Women in Lighting group. Well, I love all these groups, but we love to see women supporting women, is a global digital platform founded by the Light Collective in 2019 to showcase and uplift women working in all areas of lighting design, architectural, theatrical, art, and beyond. And it was sparked by the creator's realization of unconscious bias after producing a film in 2017 that heavily featured men, despite the equal presence of women in the field. Since launching on International Women's Day, the initiative has grown to include over hundreds of interviews and ambassadors across 80 countries, fostering a rich international network, improving industry diversity, and inspiring the next generation. And finally, Going Dark. I want to go to Going Dark is a workshop in Tuscany that explores responsible outdoor light at night in one of Italy's most stunning dark sky regions and is organized by Light Collective and Traverso Viti. Chiara, I might need some help with that pronunciation. Participants engage in hands-on experiments, night walks, and the design challenges in a unique opportunity to learn, connect, and reimagine lighting for a darker future. So the next workshop is in October and still has spaces for participants. You can sign up at goingdark.it. All right. Now,
Monteriggioni.
pardon?
Bear with me. Monteriggioni.
Monteriggioni. Thank you. Thank you. Cool. So now our esteemed and wonderful and incredible person, speaker Chiara Carucci, is the founder and principal of Noctua. With over 2 decades of experience, Chiara's journey spans diverse projects and awards, including the inaugural Wildlife Night Watch Award from Dark Sky International. Her work, ranging from guidelines to lighting designs, addresses both the preservation of specific species and broader biodiversity while fostering community impact in the nighttime economy. So with that, I will pass it over. Thank you so much for being here today, and I'm really looking forward to your talk.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And I think I'm sharing my screen now. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Chiara. I love nature, and my main clients aren't humans, but animals. My hometown is in Italy, and it taught me about light. But I learned the importance of my profession just about 10 years ago when I moved to Sweden. And I didn't move only to enjoy the natural environment or peculiar phenomenon like halo, the aurora borealis, or the midnight sun. I chose Sweden because when the summer is gone and some people go to live through the polar nights, I can feel how we get sick and depressed because of the lack of direct sunlight. I moved because I knew I could make a difference there, collaborating with others. Architects, obviously, but also environmental psychologists and safety experts, water managers, artists, and police, social workers, especially for participatory planning projects in a neglected neighborhood. And then again, traffic and safety engineers, urbanists, conservation and aquatic species experts. For example, in this Swedish town, very close to it, there is a national park, a protected area. However, beavers overpopulate park that is along the water and also unfortunately damage the trees. And as a consequence, two protected species of birds that nest there. So when I had to do the lighting design, I was about with a challenge that was, what should we protect? Like the beavers that are nocturnal animals or the birds that would like to sleep at night, possibly on those trees. Well, it was quite complicated. So with a group of experts, we decided to light up the base of the trees in order to discourage the beavers and to protect the birds. It was a difficult choice, a compromise for sure. But now I think we can get started with my experience. And to make it a bit more interesting, you could keep your telephone handy so that you can scan the QR code throughout the presentation to get more information. Especially thanks to associations like Dark Sky, groups like the Lighting Police, and advocates like you can see Jana Yakushna, we are all familiar with the importance of dark skies and the regulation designed to mitigate light pollution. However, beyond these well-known policies, which often limit to quantitative indications without even addressing the issue of over-illumination, lies a deeper challenge. That is understanding and respecting the environment as a complex ecosystem, not only in land, but across realms. Now, guess what this budget is? It's an enormous amount of money. Artificial light at night is far more than a visual or aesthetic concern. It is a real economic and environmental damage. Global ecosystem service value declined by 3.36 trillion US dollar annually due to light pollution, accounting for the 3% of the total loss. Moreover, artificial light at night, it's a pervasive environmental stressor. As I mentioned, current regulations focus on limiting light spill in the sky, but overlook its impact on wildlife. Whether in the heart of a city or in a rural landscape, ecosystems are defined by the complex interplay of multiple species and their physical environment, or relying on a delicate balance of light and dark. This is why we should distinguish astronomical light pollution, which obscures the view of the night sky, from ecological light pollution, which alters natural light regimes in terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems. All living beings are affected by sky glow, overlighting, light trespass, and other issues, not necessarily connected to astronomical light pollution. Some of the consequences are well known, like the death of migratory birds, survival risk for sea turtles and pollinators, but understanding the more subtle influences on species behavior and community ecology represents an urgent conservation challenge. Exposure to artificial light at night can interfere with mating, feeding, migration, and other critical behaviors. It affects species at individual level with cascading effects on population and ecosystems. For example, the extended natural day length can alter predator-prey dynamics. However, if these interactions are significantly disrupted, the effects can cascade through the food web, therefore altering the entire ecosystem at the landscape level. Here, it's represented through a case of connectivity loss. In every environment, from city to landscape, designer, policy, and decision maker, as well as advocates, should assess locally how disturbances affect species conservation status, since this varies. We should also assess how light influence an entire ecosystem as resulting cascade effect, rather than focusing on mitigating harm for one single species, like it often happens for a product labeled as wildlife friendly. So now we're going to look at the use of specialized spectra with examples of red and amber. A key example is the widespread use of red light to minimize disturbance to bats, a practice that in Europe is motivated by European Habitat Directive, and it was further supported by the guidance note by the IALP about bats. As you may know, wild red light has been shown to reduce negative impacts on some bat species. Its effect varies significantly. These two light opportunistic species increased activity under red light, while light adverse bat species, such as these, may display avoidance behavior when exposed to red light. While these responses may depend also on the context, the large variability in the response of bats to red light raises concern about potential ecological traps, for example, shifting species, favoring some bats while increasing the vulnerability of others, even to predators. Furthermore, even if animals can't see it very well, they can still detect red light, or most of them can. For example, red light can disrupt the magnetic orientation of migratory birds, leading to disorientation and behaviors such as circling around the light source, which may increase the risk of collision. Both amber and red light induce photoperiodic responses, earlier tree flowering or delay flowering in some cases. So you see how the use of this radiation after daylight may bother plants, and this is even worse for underwater plants and organisms. Even if amber is often considered insect friendly, it is found to be the most attractive for some groups of bioluminescent insects, especially disrupting firefly courtship, modern blue, or red light. And now, just a personal message to the author of this wonderful paper, that is Dr. Avalon Owens. If you're listening, I feel you. Dark grounds are as important as dark skies. I highly recommend everyone to watch Dr. Owens' talk for Dark Sky Week, and we'll get back to her study in a bit. That's the personal message, sorry. As I was saying, using specialized spectra could lead to lower survival rates among the various species that amber or some specialized spectra was intended to safeguard. This happened very often when it comes to protecting sea turtles. If we use this monochromatic light working with them It is just because red does not bleach the photopigment we depend upon for our night vision. Okay, these are super cute, aren't they? Caretta, loggerheads, are the most common sea turtle in the Mediterranean. Many of their nesting beaches, though, are under threat, especially from tourism development. While just 1 in 1,000 hatchling will become an adult, their life is not easy from the start, emerging for their first adventure, heading to the sea. Some local associations and marine biology institutions collaborate to safeguard them, but unfortunately, it's never enough against people egoism. So now these are videos I recorded last summer. It's a path between a resort and the sea. I did adjust the brightness while taking the video, and you can see why looking at the measures of light levels that I took the night after. It's a lot of light. So obviously, we rescued this hatchling and brought it back to the sea. But can you imagine how many get lost each summer? Yeah, this is devastating, sorry. Back to the point. Amber, red, or 2200K white light spectra can cause complete disorientation of caretta hatchlings, particularly in the absence of the moon. Lower intensity red light appeared to be less harmful, yet disorientation events still occurred if the lights were within 4 meters from the hatchlings. If you did not know this, it could actually affect their survival rate because of exhaustions while they try to reach the sea. Now, I didn't have time to study Gomez and Dr. Penderley last paper on the subject yet, but it seems to be very promising. And you know what? I actually read these papers. I'm not sure everyone can say the same, especially when looking at companies' marketing material. Some studies supporting the use of amber light or, let's say, specialized spectra may have been interpreted rather superficially, I would say. There is no silver bullet color of light that will provide visual safety for humans while avoiding impact on other species. And spectral tuning that would be adjusting the color of the light could be used in concert with other mitigation measures, such as controlling light power, restricting operating times, dimming, and controlling light direction. But I do really hope that you will also stop using the word friendly, except for pets. And now we're back at Dr. Owens. So she investigated how even the 5 principles for outdoor lighting don't always prove safe for everyone, especially vulnerable insects and pollinators. So you may ask what we can actually do. Well, I believe that by acknowledging the limitations of current policies and lighting practices, and advocating for a research-driven approach, we can better protect biodiversity while balancing the functional needs of human environments. This means designing lighting interventions that prioritize localized ecological assessment and integrate adaptive management strategies to evaluate effect over time. So even if you're not a designer, you could advocate for environmental impact assessment and ask for help involving specialists. Instead, if you are a lighting designer or following us today, please consider that design is an iterative process and receiving feedback at different stages is of great help. The earlier we rely on feedback, the easier it will be to achieve the project's goal. Collaboration can also help for policymaking to achieve long-term sustainability and wider action plans. By collaborating, we can see how effective some temporary intervention can be, like dimming or switching off light during migrating or nesting season. By implementing adaptive measure, we can also build awareness and support for long-term change. Now, what is the main issue about switching off, even if temporarily, is probably the fear of darkness. Now, for centuries, darkness was viewed as dangerous, requiring control, and later as opposing progress. The dark side and the forces of darkness, as opposed to what enlightens and illuminates, stems from a narrative that prioritizes expanding artificial light and night. If we rethink the meaning of darkness and how we experience it, we can aspire to reintroduce it as a positive goal. And so maybe we could design for darkness too. If we consider it as urban restoration, we can see darkness as a critical natural infrastructure. And so we could write new stories about the night and heal our bond with it and with nature itself. When we treat darkness as a design value, we begin to see its moral, social, and ecological gifts. And we can ask ourselves, what values can darkness express, even in an urban context? And consequently, why should we protect it? Rewilding the night, that is restoring nocturnal environments or dark environments, is an invitation. It challenges us to illuminate if needed, but also craft conditions where darkness itself becomes a positive and immersive experience. We can help others from viewing darkness as merely the absence of light or something negative, like danger or fear, toward appreciation and value. This shift involves actively working to refrain potential conflicting goals, such as enhancing public safety through lighting and preserving darkness, considering them as potentially complementary rather than competing. So challenge the brighter is safer paradigm. While monotonous, unnatural, or unpleasant lighting is proven a significant factor in feeling of perceiving safety, studies have suggested that improved lighting alone may not significantly affect perception of social safety. So if we recognize that light alone has limitations, we could consider alternative design interventions that could contribute to safety and reassurance, such as strategic routing and improved connections alongside the lighting design. But we should all raise awareness about the value of darkness and the impact of excessive artificial light as part of design strategies or policies and advocate actions. We can raise awareness of darkness and all of the nature and living beings that we usually can't see. For example, in parks, understandable descriptions, potentially aided by sensor technologies and visualization, can foster public engagement and appreciation for urban darkness. Now, with all of these complexities, how do we move forward? The answer, in my opinion, is collaboration. And this is really a practice. At Noctua, I strive to provide research-driven guidance, consultancy, or project management to support and inspire others. I've had the privilege of working alongside designers and other professionals, helping safeguard vulnerable habitats and colonies, migratory and protected species. And all of it often starts with a simple call. Hey, Chiara, what about trouts? Or flamingos? Mosquitoes on a cruise ship in the Amazon? This conversation reminds me that informed design isn't just about what we know, it's about staying curious, challenging assumptions, and above all, learning from one another. It's not just a theoretical idea. We took this concept, the reversibility, respect for the ecosystem, coexistence, and turned them into real projects with real concrete results. Less impact, greater understanding, more beauty. So let me tell you this story. The Lazio region in Italy entrusted me with the project of two caves, and honestly, the task seemed so challenging because they are located in a national park and they are super protected. So I asked the region the permission to hire three consultants, a geologist, a chiropterologist, and a biologist. Um, Together with them, we also involved the local guides and the manager, the environmental director, and their collaborating expert on bats. Collaborating with bat specialists deepened my knowledge of this mammal that are crucial to maintain ecological balance, while the geologists and biologists helped me with the task of reducing the ecological problem known as flora. It's moss and algae, bacteria, and therefore plants that grow near artificial light sources. Flora causes deterioration, and visitors worsen this phenomenon by bringing alien materials to a cave. But unfortunately, that's not all. In tourist caves that have been open for many years, we encounter excessive lighting, a lot of colors, and different intensities. While the key in such a context is to work while keeping in mind the principle of reversibility, in my mind. I wish to bring back the natural light that would beat darkness in the caves. And so, to convince the managers and the guides that this was the way to go, I actually invited them in the test lighting. So, that would be testing all the part of the caves with borrowed light sources. And from this ecological disaster, we proved them how we could reveal speleothems and geological faults while preserving dark aerial corridors for the bats to fly undisturbed. So from the previous lighting to the test lighting, now I can show you this project that is so very dear to my heart. So we did not wash light it all as it was before. We started from the cave's natural structure to reveal its beauty. And literally, we started from the darkness and selectively lighting up following the narrative zones. Indeed, the scenes activate as visitors move from one narrative zone to the next, enhancing the understanding while minimizing disturbance to the cave itself. And I continue to hope that this multidisciplinary design, made of both light and darkness, can help convey the message that respecting our natural heritage and inspire visitor is possible while ensuring safety and sustainability. And this is how protection or conservation grows. When awe becomes conservation and visitors become ambassadors who bring others to share the wonder, something like this happens. So we can collaborate with local managers and scientists to ensure the ecological integrity of the site, where natural and cultural values coexist. We can definitely design lighting to allow people to adapt to darkness before visiting. And we can take into account those who are visually challenged, making the path safer for them. At the same time, we can respect geological formations and leave dark corridors for the bats. I realized that our work must evolve from a narrow focus on individual species or compliance checklist to a broader ecosystem sensitive perspective. And now I see we are a bit late, but I'm just going to rush through this project. I just wanted to talk a bit about collaboration because in this project, we worked for 3 years with local scientists and designers and with the university in order to create an environment that was felt safe and inviting for everyone, obviously, especially the students who would move into this town to study, and create a nice, engaging place for them while keeping the space close to the water, darker, especially for migratory birds. As this is the same town of the paths along the water with the beaver, is the exact same town. Okay, I'm just gonna rush through. I'm sorry, we're a bit late. So
You
the
don't have
last
to rush.
example,
You
I shouldn't rush.
don't have to
Okay,
rush. Yeah.
I thought we were late. Okay, but that's great. So I'm taking the right time for this project that I love. It's the last example for today. It's the EU founded project Life 21 Turtle Nest. And what I wanted to bring up is that as people feel comfortable in a dark designed cave or in a fancy restaurant downtown, the same apply to this restaurant by the sea, where most of the people appreciated the cozier atmosphere with lower, warmer light. But so maybe we can also have darker street close to the to the coastline, as well as the path. And this was revealed by the survey that we developed for the pilot project connected to this Life 21 initiative. Following this endeavor, the municipality decided to forbid lighting on the beaches where caretta sea turtle nests regularly. And we are working towards a comprehensive policy for mitigating light pollution in the area. So we presented this project and some posters, I'm going to show you immediately, in the beginning of July. These posters are now displayed along the coast, raising awareness of the reasons why we are reducing or we will be reducing light levels on the streets and in town, not only along the path, but also on the entire coastline and some other area. And with these beautiful illustrations that I did with my fantastic illustrator and designer, Andrea Paraggio, we hope more people will sympathize and enjoy the night sky and dark ground on the sand for the turtles. And for your information about the third stripe here, sea turtles are bothered by other lights also underwater, even if they are far away from the coast. That means that also boats can disturb them, but also lights that are very far, far away. So if you have the power to influence this design, even just for a single project or advocacy effort, please do or get in touch with me if you need any help on this. Yeah, so this is the picture that we took last week with the monitors from the European Union who came to check our project. And then other municipalities have expressed an interest in adopting this model, prompting the leading partner of the European project to commission me to develop guidelines for public and private lighting. Now, these guidelines provide practical tools and recommendations to mitigate light pollution along the coast, targeting local governments and beach resort operators in particular. This initiative aims to drive cultural change by fostering a greater awareness of the need to preserve that natural dark environment where possible, to safeguard the well-being of obviously these beautiful sea turtles, but also communities, and engage in a more sustainable tourism. So I'm just gonna skip the rest of the video, but I have the link here, um, that you can download the guidelines from. All right. So I also presented these guidelines at the annual conference of the EU Life Turtle Nest project. Um, and for those in the audience who are not lighting designers, for us, it's very seldom that we get invited to present at European level sort of projects. But I was able to interpret all of these needs, because since 3 years, I've been consulting the sea turtle department of a marine research center that is located in the south of Italy, Anton Dorn. I go out very often for measures, but also just helping the researchers and the volunteers on site. So if you also would like to share such an experience, or you know someone who would like to do so, please apply as volunteer at the link here. Thank you. We always need volunteer. Thank you. But now to the conclusions. First, do no harm. A collaborative approach for advocates, researchers, and designers may seem complex, but it brings lasting rewards as real impact. And following, there are some considerations and lessons learned. Real challenge comes from crossing boundaries together, but real change happens as well. Collaborative efforts ensure that the impact of Alan is assessed from multiple perspectives, leading to more robust and adaptive strategies. So let's try to advocate for decisions made on solid local data, species, habitat, cultural ties. Evidence builds trust and better outcomes, in my experience. So I hope you can help me support more flexible, adaptive processes, monitoring, learning, and adjusting over time as ecosystem respond. And please consider that nature does not work in silos. Light and light is never just about light. It ripples through species and habitats and people and places. So let's try and turn these limits into strength. How? I think by working together. No one discipline holds all the answers. Our strength lies in different eyes, voices, and hands working as one. In a nutshell, protecting the natural and cultural heritage in our cities and everywhere call for true collaboration. Together we can create the right light at the right time, but also the right darkness when needed, so that people and nature can thrive together even after dark. So thank you very much. And please get in touch with me if you like through this QR code. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chiara. What an incredible, beautiful, moving presentation. I'm so happy you shared all of your knowledge with us. The cave lighting was just stunning, so beautiful, and I loved seeing all of the quotes of how just a simple redesign and lighting was able to make that many changes beneficially for the bats and the Lampa flora. Is that what it was called? Lampin flora.
It's like I'm sorry, I didn't translate it. It's like the flora of lamps.
I love it.
The vegetation that comes out. It actually happens in town as well. So if you see some moss on buildings, it's because okay, not too complicated, but basically plants are so much more intelligent than us. They grow everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah.
They attach to everything, and it's fantastic. Just sometimes we want to protect either buildings or environments that are naturally dark, like caves, from this to stems. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, absolutely. No, I love Lamp and Flora. That's like if my next dog, I'm gonna name him Lamp and Flora. But- so I have a question. You know, you have these years of experience in the lighting design world. How have you seen your own like inspirations and goals change throughout your time as a lighting designer?
That's fun you ask this question. Um, so in 1998, I was still quite young, but I was already sitting at a table for the first regional law for light pollution in Italy. Um, there was a call for this table discussing the law, and I was just mind blown because I was thinking, well, I started already a bit light, and I know it's just that it's reflecting on particles in the air, right? So if we could clean the air, there would be no light pollution. And honestly, I couldn't care less because in my hometown that I showed you, I didn't move to Sweden yet at that point. I was still, let's say, in the south of Italy studying, but I could still see the Milky Way every time I would go to the sea. And then slowly this happened to change. And more, I acquired this knowledge that yes, um, we can actually fight light pollution, like um, compared to other kind of pollutions, is something that we can actually fight and remove forever, not like other damages like anthropogenic impact that we do, and we cannot restore some of those damages, right? But eventually what's really concerning is not only what we spill into the sky. Yes, of course, I respect deeply all of the astronomers, and I do love myself a fantastic night sky, and I get lost into the stars. I'm a very bad photographer, but in Maya, you promised that astronomy, what is it called? Astrophotography course. Yeah, thank you. But the real knowledge and the real challenge happened for me when you remember the example of the beavers. Like uh, when I noticed the damage, and this was like approximately 10 years ago, because I just moved to Sweden. That was one of my first projects. And it was like, I didn't even know the beavers could overpopulate a city. I had no clue because I was coming from the south of Italy, right? And then noticing the damage, and then learning about the birds and all of the things that we could do with light. They weren't just beautification or whatever other marketing thing they say. No, I'm kidding. I'm a huge supporter of the advantages of light as a structural change that is also cheaper compared to others, especially for equity and equality thing that we didn't talk about today, but that's for another time. But there's so many things we can do is that we can actually discourage beavers to harm the trees because they are nocturnal. It's just a matter of knowing it. And then yeah, you could bother some fishes, but that's completely different story. I just started at that time, right? And learning that researchers were actually interested in collaborating with me, it was again mind blowing because when you read the papers, I don't know if there are researchers with us tonight, but reading those papers is quite challenging. It's you ever tried? It was like when you start, it's like, okay, I this is statistics, and then okay, this is chemical, and then that is like biology. It's quite crazy. Anyway, they really want to put their knowledge in practice. So again, to the designers in the audience, try to collaborate because they really want to see their knowledge in the field and see what happens. Like my hero, that is Travis Loncourt, has long demonstrated how this is possible. Is my total hero. Like he and Dr. Pendley in Australia, they have done so much, and it's like real concrete examples, right? I see Chris is laughing. I'm talking too much. Sorry.
No, you're good. We're here to listen to you talk.
We
So,
love Travis. That's what
yeah.
else.
Greetings.
You're amazing, and we love the work that you do. And yeah, thank you for sharing all of this with us. So I love this question here from Alex in New Zealand, who asks, localized research, as we're talking about research, seems to be key to the project. How did you manage to get involved with the researchers or to make research happen? Alex is from New Zealand, where they have a lot of birds, but no real local research. And as a designer, would love to make
So
change
many
that
caves.
doesn't have the data available. So, any advice for Alex on research?
So many caves, guys. I'm so envious. Okay. Most beautiful caves, I think, in the world. Anyways, yeah. Honestly, today is pretty easy because local research group usually support also volunteers or vice versa. So you can just Google. But if you don't know a local researcher, you can just find a paper that you like and then not a paper that you like a paper on the topic, and then try and write to that researcher on that topic. So we're talking migratory birds. You're gonna read some. There are thousands of papers on the topic. Then you can write to the researcher. You're gonna be surprised. They usually respond. I was astonished by the fact that they actually replied to my email. Okay, uh, just write to them because among them they are very well connected. So, like, if you know any ornithologists or chiropterologists from one side of the world, they will probably know everyone else. It's like lighting designers, we probably know each other very well all over the world. And if I don't know the specific lighting designer, I know someone who may know, like the 7 degrees of right separation. So yeah, I think they're pretty friendly. So yeah, it takes an effort to collaborate locally, especially if you want to get paid for that. It's like when we have to ask our clients, like as designers, I'm talking, when we have to ask our clients to get everything paid for, it's um, it's a challenge. You really have to demonstrate that it's gonna make a difference. And usually, what it works for me is that I say, we're gonna use less time. If you get me to work with, if you hire for me, this is what happens in the case. Happened in the case. If you get to hire specialists, researchers, they're gonna work with me. We're gonna pass brilliantly all the authorizations and all of the processes, the evaluation that we need to achieve in order to have the project. And in fact, that was it. It actually happened like that. But yeah, it's difficult. I
Yeah.
don't know if I answered the question. I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I popped a link in the chat a couple times. I think looking through Dark Skies Allen database, we have a database of a bunch of light pollution papers, pretty much all of them. It's the most comprehensive database of dark sky and light pollution related papers. You can kind of maybe even search like New Zealand birds and or just
Yeah.
birds in general and or New Zealand and kind of see what comes up. There's also the Artificial Light at Night Research Conference, which is actually coming up in the fall in Westport, Ireland. So check that
We
out.
are so excited.
Are you speaking there?
Yeah. Oh, no, I shouldn't say. The program is not out yet, but yeah. Okay. Too late. Sorry, Annette. Sorry,
Sorry.
Annette, if you are listening. Sorry.
Well, I think that'll make everyone want to attend. So yeah, artificiallightatnight.org, I think is the URL there to check out that conference. And that's another way to get involved with the lighting researchers as well. So we have a question from Stelios, who is just kind of wanted a link for the posters that you shared. I'm not sure which
The
one.
poster. No, I don't have a link for the poster. So if you want to access the poster and translate them for your town or city, I think that is okay. But you should write to the Turtle Nest Project. The website is, I should know. Okay, just write me an email. I forgot the website of my project.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
we'll have him email
But
you.
but in the Life Turtle Nest website, you can just make an inquiry and ask, okay, I would like to have the poster, and usually they allow for getting the translation at least to the partners. But yeah, maybe.
Very cool. Okay, there is a question here from Nathaniel, who says, amazing work. What were your biggest challenges implementing better lighting in new places and resorts? And what did you find was the best way to overcome them?
So I have to say that I rely on collaboration a lot. Um, I mean, my entire talk was about collaboration, or hopefully you can understand it was about that. I rely on collaboration a lot. So I learned very early in my career that we have some strengths, but we cannot do it all by ourselves. And the, so, for example, for me, the most challenging thing is to get to the right question, to get the answers that I need to complete or go on with the project and so on. And then it's not so easy to get the basic knowledge to then get those answers. So what I usually do is try and talk with people in my network that can help me out. And that is one of the reasons why I'm so grateful to my association, that is the International Association of Lighting Designers, that is supporting this event. Because networking and keeping a fantastic network of colleagues also help overcome some of these issues. But now my network luckily enlarged a lot, so I have also a lot of researchers that I can bug every now and then. I
Yeah.
don't know if I answered. Hope I
Yeah,
answered.
yeah, I think so. Great. So Glenn has a question about spectra.
I
So
can.
so you say there is no silver bullet.
I
Um,
don't say it is Travis.
but is it correct to say all artificial light can negatively affect animals and plants, but short wavelength blue light is generally more harmful?
Worse. Yes. So the thing is that compared to natural after dark values of light, does it make sense what I said? Like moonlight or starlight, those are, you can actually calculate those values. And many animals are used to this gradual variation of light over time. There will be during the night and over the seasons, I mean, the month and the seasons and so on. So the trouble is, especially with insects, again, listen to Dr. Owen's talk, that's brilliant. Especially with insects, the trouble is that for as much as we want to reduce the amount of light, let's say on a path, there are some regulations that say you should have this amount of light level, light value on the path. We want to reduce it, maybe have it more uniform, and maybe it is still too much light compared to the natural, it's not natural darkness, it's the natural light after dark. I don't know if that's a good thing, explanation. So yeah, you can say that generally speaking, blue and ultraviolet are the most harmful, though there are some other species that do not perceive at all blue light. So sometimes if you work not against, how to say, if you work with one particular species because that's the dominant in an environment, you may actually choose to work with even with the green rich light if needed. Like comes to mind the paper on migratory birds, but then also that one was disproved in another paper. That is so confusing. So I'm not advocating for total dark or total darkness, but I'm asking ourselves and everyone if we could advocate for a bit more darkness. Like there is this researcher, is called Taylor Stern. I mean, he changed a bit research path, but still, he proposed something that is called dark acupuncture. This thing with the needle. Can you
Acupuncture?
say? Yeah, that darkness acupuncture. And that is awesome, right? So you could design spaces in the city or in a park or wherever, whatever is the real realm that you're working with, places where you actually explain why that place is dark. And as the example with the animals that I was showing, you can actually make some species visible and so on and so forth. So I'm not saying that we should advocate for total darkness. I'm saying that we could start designing darkness as well.
I love that. And I loved like your spaces of dark within the cave. I think that you did that really beautifully in there. And it's a great example of that. As darkness is beneficial. And I think we all are advocates for that here in the dark sky movement. So yeah, it is the top of the hour, and I want to thank you so much for your time and your passion and this amazing presentation. This is gonna be one, it was probably one of the most beautifully put together presentations I feel like that I've seen. All of your little animations and videos were really engaging and lovely to watch. So thank you for the time for putting that together for all of us today, and sharing your knowledge with us. It was incredible. And now we're really excited to kind of move into our networking cocktail hour, if you will, of breakout rooms. So feel free to hop off, but we would recommend everyone stay. And
I will say also, if you have questions, I will try and read the chat, but it's so many
great. There's a lot
messages.
in the chat, yes. But maybe you could pop if you have a contact information or how people should get a hold of you, if you want
Oh,
to
yeah.
pop that in the chat. I know you have a really awesome website, great Instagram. You should all be following Chiara if you're not already.
I can hire you as a promoter. Oh,
Please do. Uh, yeah, we'll have Chiara put her email in the chat. And yeah, I think maybe Chris can help us break out into some breakout rooms so we can keep this conversation going. I will just also note here that where are my notes? This recording will be available on YouTube, and you can right now already catch the stream on Facebook. So please, if you want to help us get visibility for Chiara's talk, share it on your local or your personal Facebook page or your group page. It's a great resource for folks. And again, I just want to remind you of all of the amazing dark sky programs that exist to help promote this type of beneficial lighting. We have the 5 principles of responsible outdoor light at night, our dark sky approved programs that has dark sky lights that you can purchase or look for. We have sports lighting, lodging, dark sky parks, and policy templates. So please, stay in touch with all of us if you'd like to learn more about how you can get involved and how you can support dark skies through Dark Sky International.